Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Friday night. And if you've went out of your way to like, comment, or subscribe, thank you for that. All right, so we're getting into the part of the summer where the fish are going to start being busted up in their schools and they're going to start moving to cover. And you're going to have lots of different situations going on. And fish are really going to start becoming spread out if they're pressured. So if you have that unpressured school, they're going to stay together. Those ones are going to be really fun and easy to catch for the most part relative to what's going on the rest of the lake. You're going to have fish that are almost kind of like they're in the post spawn where they're just few and far between. You got to cover a lot of water. Now, I've made a lot of videos in the summertime talking about I like slow moving baits on the bottom or top waters. That mid-range, middle water column, subsurface bait, to me in the summertime, you lose a lot of the size. You don't catch nearly as big a fish. But I will say this, if you have a cloudy day and you need to cover a bunch of water and there's not groups of fish that you've found and you've got to go looking for them, a flipping bait's probably not your best option, and a top water is not going to be the deal if the fish are really on the cover good. You know, if you have one of those days where the pressure's rising, but you're still partly cloudy where it's a good day to go cover water, but fish are going to be on targets and you need to make them react, a buzz bait over a tree that's, you know, a couple feet under the water is not really going to get them to do that. So a crankbait is my favorite bait. And I'm going to start using those crankbaits that everyone talks about as cold water baits. Not so much the balsa baits. You can catch some on a balsa bait, but I need a bait that I can crank really fast, and then I like a tight wobble. I like a natural looking bait, and I like those smaller baits. So I have 3 crankbaits for you guys today that I love to throw when it gets hot dog days of summer. So the first one being an SKT MR. This is a Lucky Craft bait. It's a medium running crankbait. Really small profile, flatter sides. You can reel it fast. It won't turn over. And this is a bait that if I'm going to be fishing out to the ends of trees, you know, that may be out in like 5 feet of water, or if I'm fishing grass, something to where I need to get the fish to react, this bait is a great reaction bait for that. Pop it out of the grass, pop it off the end of a tree. You know, it takes a lot to get these fish to bite. And it's the reason in the colder months that I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand is you're fishing with the same baits that the fish have seen a lot. So it takes something special to get them to bite. You know, in the colder months, a jig, a crankbait, a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, those are pretty much your only options. Well, the finesse jig works so well is because they've seen so many jigs. You know, a crankbait in those smaller sizes, those tighter wobbles work so well because they've seen every crankbait. You know, a spinnerbait, you need a perfect day to catch them on it. And I think it's the same thing now where we're having so much fishing pressure that they've seen every crankbait. So if you just go out there and throw your normal crankbait that you throw all year, that's not always going to work. You need a tight wobbling bait. You need something that's going to look realistic. And a tight wobbling bait, you know, it's always moving. You know, a wider wobbling bait, I think the fish are getting a better look at it. When you have that tight wobbling bait, you can reel it really fast and it just is shaking and moving. The silhouette is smaller and I think it's going to get more bites. So when they're not biting that, or if I got to fish a little bit shallower, because the downside of that bait is if you want to reel it fast, it's going to get out to 5 feet of water. I'll go with this SKT Mini MR. And this is a bait that is going to run a little bit shallower, and it's obviously a smaller profile. And this is a bait that you can cover water with and get bit when nothing else will work. It's going to be a little tougher to throw. It's going to be a little more, you know, patience and stuff like that when you're fishing around cover, because it is going to hang up. But this bait is going to run a little bit deeper than a square bill, but it's going to catch those same fish. So if you have fish that are relating to a little bit deeper grass, a little bit deeper wood, this is going to be my next favorite option. And then if you have fish that are real shallow, maybe you found some cooler water in the back of a creek, or maybe the fish are just moved shallow. The thermocline is starting to change and the fish are having to move shallow. I will go with the 1.0 square bill. You can reel this bait super fast and it'll stay in really shallow water. I think that's a key with all 3 of these crankbaits is you want to be reeling it really fast. You know, and this time of year, summertime cranking, that's your go-to. When you're flipping and doing other things, slow down, but when you're cranking, speed up. Try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.